I just wanted us to do a quick review on what we learned previously. So, in our previous lesson, we had to learn about, we said we learned about 5 main things, which is the note identification, length of the notes, and key signature, time signature, common music terms. That's how we've broken down our lesson, our music lesson. So we took the note identification, and under note identification, we gave the main kinds of notes that we have in music, and we said we have 4 types. We have a lot, but the main types for now that we want to know is just 4. We have the semi-brief, which is the 4 counts. We have the minim, which is the 2 counts. We have the crotchet, which is 1 count. And we have the quiver, which is half count. So we moved on to the dotted notes because every music, like I think 70% of music have this dotted note, so we have to understand what a dotted note is. So we said when a dot is added to a note, it adds half of the value of the note. So when you have a minimum, which is 4 counts, and you add half of the 4 counts, which is half of 4 is 2. So 2 plus 4 becomes 6. So the calculations is so you can see on the right hand side. And we had a dotted minim. What does a dotted minim to mean? So a dotted minim will just add half of the original beats, which is half of 1. Then it becomes 3 counts. Then we did the dotted crochet, and we also looked at the dotted quivers. So the dotted quivers, we said, is basically 1.5 counts. So we did all that. Then the next thing we did under note identification is the note positioning. So we wanted to know, okay, if you have a music sheet, how are you going to identify the notes? Because the note identification will give you an idea on what, how should I say it? The note identification will give you an idea on the surface. Yeah, let me put it that way, surface. So when you're able to identify the notes, then now with the help of the key signature, you convert them into surface. So is it do, re, mi, or fa, or whichever note it is. So that's where we ended from our previous lesson. So we kind of have to continue on. So just a quick recap on the note positioning. We said every music sheet, when you take every music sheet, we have this treble clef, which comprises of the soprano and the alto. Then we have the bass clef, which is this sign, which is made up of the bass and tenor. So when we start with the treble clef. So with the treble clef, we said if there's a simple way to identify the notes. So we group them into lines and spaces. So it's either the note is on a line or the note is on a space. So initially we said that when it's on the easiest way to identify is for the spaces is we have face for the spaces, and every good boy deserves favor for the lines. So plus phase for the lines, and every good boy deserves favor. So this is for the spaces and this for the lines. So that means that when I have a note on the first space, it's an F. When I have a note on the second space, it's an A. And third space is a C. Fourth space is a E. Likewise, when we come to the lines, when you have a note on the first line, it's an E. Second line is a J. Third line is a B. Fourth line is a D. Fifth line is an F. So we've kind of identified from F to F, but we have we have this C and D, which is not really on the line and space over here. What do I mean? So we identify that this first line, if you are taking the notes, this first line is E, second line is J, B, D, F. But when you have a note below this first line, when you have this a note below this first line, maybe the note is here, is a D. When you have a line drawn under the first line, so when you have a line, it's something like this. I'll demonstrate it on a real music notes and music piece so that we all understand. So when you have a note, a line over here with a note indicated on it. So I have a line, then I have a note on it. That note is a C. Yeah, so now it becomes something like an alphabetical order thing. So we have the C and D, then your first line is E, first space is F. Then after a space, you move to a line. So even when we start with the C is on the line, but the line is not part of our ledger lines over here. So our C is here. The next thing is the space, which is D. Then now we move on to the main ledger lines, which is so we have one first line, which is E. Then we move on to the first space, F. Second line, J. Second space, A. Then that's how it continues. So I think the other time we started with identifying the notes on a real music piece. Yeah. So I can just quickly start and so this a real music sheet that we began identifying the notes. So we did two things over here. So we can do two things. Identify one, the notes. So we identify the notes. And the second thing is the duration of the notes. These are two very important things you have to know. So you have to know the notes, what note is this, and the duration. So over here, we can see that there are two notes combined. We said that when you see this sign, is the treble clef, which is made up of the soprano and the alto. So you kind of have to identify which one is your alto note, which one is your soprano note. So all these top notes that you see, these top notes are all for soprano. So with the soprano, most of them face the note goes upwards this way. Then the one below it is the alto. So when we are identifying soprano notes, let's just start with the soprano notes. So with the soprano notes, Um, this our first soprano note. As I was saying, what's the first question you have to ask is the note on a line or on a space? Then you identify which type of line or which type of space. So this my first soprano note is on a third space. So first, second, third space. So my third space. So you can quickly write this as your guide. So face, and your every good boy deserves favor. So the first note for the soprano is the third space. So this is for spaces. This is for lines. So this the third space, so it becomes a C. Then the next soprano note is a C because it's a third space. Now this one becomes a D because it's a fourth line. The note is on the fourth line. You kind of have to count. Let me zoom in a bit so that you see. Then this is on the 1, 2, third space, which is a C. This is on the second space, which is an A. First space, F. Then F, the same notes. Now, as I was saying, this is your first line. So below your first line is a space. So this is a D. I explained it when I started. So this, okay, at that line below the first ledger line. So when you see C is the easiest note to identify because it's a line below the first ledger line. So when you see a line below our first major ledger line and there's a note there, it's a C. So F, A, F, C, A, G, second space. So let's go back to, I'm just doing it for the first line of the music or the first line of the music. So now let's go to the auto note. So this is an F because it's on the first space. This is an F, an F, an F, an F, a C, a D. Then this becomes a B, then a C, 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 F, F. Yeah, I'm able to identify it quickly because I'm used to it. So E. Yeah. So the next thing is kind of, so we've identified the notes. We know the notes. Now we have to come to the duration. How long is each note? So this is a dotted crotchet. So initially we said a crotchet is 1 beat. One beat. But it's dotted, so it adds half of the original note. So it adds half. So this will be 1.5. Then there's a quiver, which is a half beat. So let me use that now. Color. So this is 1.5 notes. This is a half note. This is a half note. Half, half, half. Then there is a minimum two notes. I feel like this is not clear enough. I mean, so 1.5, half, 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 two, 1.5, half, 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 half. So this is a dotted minim. So our dotted minim becomes 3 counts. Okay, so let's say we all know what a friend we have in this sense, but let's pretend as if we don't even know the song, because these two things alone can help you know how the song will go like. So especially the count is very, very vital for me as an organist, because I need to know how the song is moving. So I wanted to demonstrate this one at church, but I don't know whether I can do it online. So we have to kind of learn how to clap for each note. So we pick a particular speed for each note. So we said the minim has 4 counts. So if you see a minim, you are going to hold the note for 4 seconds. So if you are singing, you hold the note for four counts. If you are playing, you hold on to the key for 4 counts. But if you are singing, you kind of hold it for 4. So if you see a minim, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you'll be counting that note in your head. Crochet is 1, 2. Minim is just a 1. It's just 1 beat. So 1. Minim goes 1, 1, 1, 1. Then the quavers is half. So 2 halves makes a 1. So the quavers will be a little bit faster than the crochet. So if I'm moving 1, 1, 1, 1 for the crochet, the quiver will be going pa, 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 half, 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 1. So you realize that if someone, we can do an experiment where everyone claps for each note. So one person will be doing 4 notes, which is the minim, the semi-brief. Then one person will be doing the minim, which is the 2 counts. One person will be doing the crochet, which is the 1 count. Then one person will be doing the quiver, which is the half count. So you realize that when we are doing that, everyone will be in sync. It doesn't matter the number of notes you are counting. Everyone is going to be in sync. So again, our minim is 4 counts. Our semi-brief is 4 counts, minim is 2 counts, crochet is 1 count, quavers is half count. So when we want to clap for this one, so the first note is a dotted crochet. So with the dotted crochet, it's 1.5 notes. So that means that it's in between 1 and 2 counts. So how do you count that one? So with that one, it's like you hold the note slightly, or you sing the note slightly above a 1 beat count. So instead of 1, 1, 1, 1, my 1.5 will be 1. So my 1.5 will be 1 and 1 and so that's our so I kind of have to demonstrate it physically. I don't know whether what I'm doing online makes sense to you guys. I kind of have to demonstrate it for you to understand. So with this one, it's going to go like 1, 2, half, 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 1, 2. 1, 2, 1 and half, 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 1, 2, 3. So that's for the first line. I know it's going to take a little bit of time for you guys to understand, but it's not something difficult. You just have to know the rhythm. It's not anything difficult. Any questions so far from up to this point? Hello?
Yeah, so makes sense. I noticed that you're using the British terminology, right? Uh,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah,
note.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, you are right. So I realized some of um the books, I think, I don't know whether it's the American style or they have a different way of naming the notes and the number of beats. But I learned it this way.
Okay, okay,
This the British way, as you are saying, yeah.
okay. So, uh, so time signature for the notes, right? So if you want to count, let's say, for the one note, I mean, for the first note right there. So that is
One and a half.
so it's one and a half. So if it's just a quarter note right there, right?
Yeah,
So or if it's the one beat, as you said, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, right? That
yeah,
is also the time signature, right? So one,
yeah.
two,
So
three, four. But since it has a dotted note, right? So that is a half of that quarter note, right? That one
yeah,
beat, right?
yeah,
So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. If it was an eight note, right, or a half beat, it would be one and two and three and four.
yeah. So
So in this
one
particular
and two
case, it
and
would
three.
be
Yeah,
one
yeah.
and
Yeah, so
for
you
that
the
first
end
note.
the trick is the end is kind of the half, but the end is kind of covering for the
The
half.
half. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so one end. So
One and.
one
Okay.
end.
Because if
So
it was a half count, it would be one and two and three and four, right?
yeah,
If it was one count, it'd be 1, 2, 3,
so
4. But since this is one and a half, right? Or
mhm,
it's a three count, I mean, so it'll be one and.
yeah.
Okay.
So another way to of learning it is just hold the note a little bit longer than the one note. So like the quartet is one. So another way of learning it is because I also struggle getting the one and a half note. But it's just the end, and you don't have to really string the end. So you stretch the note a little bit longer than the one, and you realize that the next note is a half note. So usually when you have a quarter a dotted note, the next note is usually a lower note or a note with a smaller count. So when they stretch the note, the next note is usually a note lesser than it. So it kinds of move faster. So this becomes one, two, no, one and half, 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 half. You see, so that's how the song is going. Yeah. So I don't know whether after church we can find like a minute or two to explain it before any choir practice or something for people to understand. Yeah,
Okay. And then key signatures, we're gonna also look into that because I see that B over there, right?
yeah, yeah. So my next thing I want to tackle is the key signature. Then how to convert this C and D that you see into surface. So I can give you a brief intro to it. So when you see one flat, this signature means a flat. When you see this is a flat, that means that you are going to flat every B note. And if you see one flat, that means the key is in F. is a key F. So with the key F, that means that my do starts on an F note. My do will start on an F. So this becomes do, this becomes a do, and this is also a do, do, do. So when you take the soprano, this becomes you have to convert it to,
Yeah.
this becomes
So
a
sorry,
so.
I was just asking. Maybe it would be for next lesson because
Yeah,
what are we able to look into the rests, right? Whole rest, quarter rest.
yeah,
First, have we
yeah,
talked about that?
yeah, because there's a rest sign here. Yeah, you're right. We can also talk about the rest signs over here. But I think we should tackle the time signature first because
Okay.
it yeah, because it all makes sense because over here it's a three counts, then you rest for one because we are saying that the time signature is four. So that means that every bar should have four notes and four counts. And over here is three. So that means that there's a rest of one. That's it. So I'll tackle the rest sign too next week alongside the time signature before we go to the key signature because the key signature is a bit technical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So for time signature, that four times four, right, like 4 by 4, so which means that the upper four means that the whole knot pretty much takes value, right? And then the bottom
yeah,
four means that there is four keys in a measure, right?
yeah,
Is that
yeah,
what it means?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Can you expand on that?
Yeah, so basically this four time signature is telling you that in a bar, when I say in a bar, this is your bar. So this is your second bar. From here, from this bar to this one is your first bar. From here to here is your second bar. From here to here is your third bar. So that means that for each bar, we have four notes in the bar. You kind of have four notes. So however you are counting, it should match the four notes. If you have two, two, that means in every bar there are two notes, two counts in it. So for next week, we'll basically tackle that one for next week. Throw more light on it next week. I think my time is up. We will continue next week. If you have any question, we can answer quickly before I have just a minute left or 2 minutes left. Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for the lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to say if there's no question, then we can make it next week. Can't even stop my screen recording.
I have
Sorry,
no
since
question. Anybody
it's
has a question?
now I'm just jumping in here for unrelated matter. Since it is Sunday school service tomorrow, um, I would suggest that Sister Spolet's song be moved to next week.
Sounds good.
Oh, okay.
All right. But good job, everybody. This is good. It's good lessons. Thank you.
All
I'm
right.
glad that we can, like, how do I say, at my young age, um, and how I got through singing without knowing really notes is mind-boggling, but that's sound. Like you hear the note, right? And so thank goodness for other ways of being able to learn. I wish I would have been introduced to this years ago. Just saying,
Yeah, it's never
But
too
it's
late.
very interesting.
Mhm.
Thank you.
All right, no worries.
Okay.
For sure.
Have
Thank you
a
so much. And yeah, we'll see you
great
tomorrow.
day. Thank you.
And
Bye
happy
bye.
Women's Day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.